Hello, fellow Redbirds. Welcome to Bird Fans Forever podcast number 30. If you're new to our channel, you should check out our @BirdFansForever Twitter account and follow to get the first notice of new videos that we publish. You can follow along there also for other information and fun polls. Our website is www.birdfansforever.com, and on there you can find links to all episodes of our podcast across many apps. Apple, Google, Spotify, and others, as well as a tab to access our videos on YouTube, where we're also called Bird Fans Forever. So dunk on the YouTube subscribe button and follow us on Twitter so you'll be the first to see new episodes and get other fun information from us. Congratulations to the Lady Basketball Redbirds, who were the 2023 regular season champs and will play in the WNIT this coming Thursday at Missouri. Good luck to the Lady Redbirds in the WNIT. Go Birds! Our guest for today is Cindy and Jason, who are Illinois State Redbird superfans. We'll be right back with Cindy and Jason.
And welcome to episode 30 of Bird Fans Forever. We have Cindy, and I'm going to let Cindy pronounce her last name because we all know how good Jon is about spelling and grammar. Cindy?
Cindy Greskowitz.
Yes! And then we're going to let Jason introduce himself.
Jason Hartzler.
Awesome. All right. So Jason and Cindy, love to have you on the show. We were laughing about this, right? Because we met them at the Valley Tournament in 2017. Correct me, Jon and Steve, 2018, after we left the Holiday Inn, which was next to the thing, and we moved over to the Drury. So we were coming out of the turns after the games, and there's all these Redbirds in there partying it up. Lots of shots, jello shots. And so we got to meet Jason and Cindy. They're super fans. So welcome to the show, both of you. Thank you for being on.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All right, so we always start with this way, and they didn't flip a coin. Jason just decided, since he had been at ISU longer than Cindy, he gets to go first. How did you get to ISU? So, Jason, you're first, big guy. Let's hear it.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having us again. I'm a little nervous being on with you guys that are superstars now in the world of podcasts. But
Oh, yeah.
I'm a local person, so I grew up just up the road from here, Lexington, Illinois. I was born in 1970. I didn't actually attend ISU until my junior year, which would have been 1990. I went to Parkland first. There wasn't a Heartland College at that time, but I was becoming a Redbird fan, or became a Redbird fan in the 70s when I was a very young man. My mother worked at ISU starting in the late 70s, and she worked there about 15 years, and she was always a big sports fan. And we always had ISU basketball on the radio and listened. Wasn't budget happy for us to have season tickets. However, we did go to a handful of games every year. More and more of that happened in the early 80s to mid-80s, and it's amazing the run the Birds were on at that time. It was a great time to grow up as a kid being a Redbird fan. So some of my first memories, or some of my favorite things, going to my first Redbird game, the first player I remember for ISU was Joe Galvin. 7-foot, big man, swatting the ball, rebounding the ball. I'm a little kid, I'm 8 years old and a very short kid. I'm a short guy now too, but very short then, and I just thought the biggest man in the world, and I just loved watching it. And there was such great history in the Missouri Valley. I didn't see Larry Bird there. I didn't, Doug Collins was a little bit before my time, but I remember Doug Collins, hearing the name all the time. I remember hearing Bubble Hawkins. I remember hearing Jeff Wilkins and these guys, and names started coming together for me. The late 70s, early 80s, and going to games and watching them play Creighton and Benoit Benjamin. Watching him walk off the bench and underneath that overhang, and the dude seemed like he was 12 foot tall. The guys from Wichita State, Tar and Xavier McDaniels. I was also actually kind of like Steve Harris from Tulsa too. He was a scorer. I was always an ISU guy, but I loved how sweet his shot was. John Sherman Williams from the other ISU, and I don't want to name Bradley guys, but those guys all stick in my head too, from those battles. But you guys were not very far behind me. I mean, I was younger, a little younger. I know you guys are getting ISU, but those early 80 years, and Cindy will probably put up I have a couple programs from them. Those early 80 years, Rick Lamb and Hank Cornley, Michael McKinney, Dwayne Tyus. I loved Raynard Moline, that guy off the bench with the energy. Ricky Johnson, Lou Stefanovic, just very, very fun stuff. I will never forget that time of my life growing up, and that sucked me into ISU basketball big time. And I remember Jon Pemberton coming to town, and big strong man off the bench initially. And Cindy, I just showed a picture of him, exciting stuff. But that's how I kind of got attached to the ISU basketball back then, and have been a fan ever since. I had a little lull for a while, and then I met Cindy, and then she rejuvenated me. And that might be maybe a natural progression to how Cindy got to ISU, I'm thinking.
So I came to ISU in 1995 as a student. I was not going to come to ISU. I was going to go to our community college, but I realized I was ready to get away from home. My sisters were here, so I came. I actually didn't go to a lot of sporting events my first couple of years. My junior year, my roommate was in the band, and so I'd go hang out with her and her friends. And I'd always went to sporting events growing up. So it was kind of natural that I got back into it. And especially that was when we were making NCAA tournaments the last time, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. And so really got into it and started going to everything with my friends. The year that we made the NIT and played at Purdue, my friends and I actually went to every Valley game home and away that year for the men's team. Lots of stories from them. Yeah, I actually, I have a picture, here's all of us with actually a blanket I made at Wichita State after we beat them. I have a picture at Northern Iowa.
You'll have to send me pictures. Take
pictures
of them and send them to me. Yep.
Yes. So we had a lot of fun.
Awesome. Show that picture of me again, because Sonny is going to talk about that, what looks like a possible dunk, but might not be an actual make of a dunk. And so Sonny's going to talk about that one right there. Yes. Yeah, that's a painful picture for me. So, yes. All right. So, you guys both end up at ISU. Jason, a little bit before Cindy. How did you guys get the quick version of how you met, and then really, how you guys started going to season tickets and getting to everything, right? And so talk about all the season tickets you have and what sports you go see and those kind of things.
We were both working at ISU. Jason had a friend that worked in the department I was working in, and he invited me to stop by their tailgate they had. So I went over there. We both may have had a couple drinks before that.
No.
I know, big surprise, right? And that we met at a tailgate. So we talked a bunch, and then that next Monday, the friend may have told us that we liked talking to each other more than we had actually said to him. And then he made sure that we were hanging out after that a lot, and
good. We
started hanging out. I was still going to men's basketball for sure, football, probably some volleyball and women's basketball. So it was natural Jason started going with me. Our first Valley tournament game was actually the Sean Jepson shot. And we made jello shots for that, and that's where the jello shots come from. It's a tradition now for us to do that.
So Cindy and Jason, you guys have been going to the Arch since 2002. That's when Jepson made that shot. Tell us a couple of your favorite places when you go down there to visit. It's a great experience for anyone who hasn't been there. And it's not just about the basketball games, it's about the people you interact with, and there's a whole bunch of great places and things to do when you're there. So I know you got a couple places you like to do and talk about that.
So regarding March Madness, I know Cindy mentioned earlier, we went, our first game together was the Sean Jepson shot 2002. That was actually our first trip together. We had just met the fall before that and decided before that trip to make a lot of jello shots. And by a lot, I mean, in the hundreds. So we made a ton of jello shots. We go down, and the first game ends as about as exciting as you can possibly imagine, as the last podcast you guys went over. with Sean making that shot, and everybody that was there having so much fun. And the lobby party post-game kind of started from there, where everybody's having fun and we're passing out jello shots and drinks and we're celebrating the victory and hanging out, and that's kind of the start of it, at least from our perspective, doing that. And it's obviously evolved a lot over the years and a lot of the other things that we do at the Valley, but that's where it kind of started for us anyway.
So Cindy, besides the lobby, like, what are some other things that you like to do when you're in St. Louis?
We usually, anymore, we go to Ballpark Village a lot, especially for the pregame rallies that ISU holds, and catch up with other fans there. We usually go to a couple breweries too. But really it's a lot about going to Ballpark Village, hanging out with the fans, and we're at every game that whole weekend. ISU wins or lose, we're at every game, and spend some time upstairs in the Jameson Club, maybe having some cheap drinks up there. And we used to go to the Landing a lot, but that's closed down now. So, which I think also leads into the reason we started doing lobby parties. Besides Ballpark Village, there's not as many places to go in St. Louis, so we had to find a place that our 50 closest friends could hang out at the same time and have jello shots.
So some of the things that's fun too, besides meeting ISU fans, you get to meet fans of the other basketball teams. So, not that we want to characterize everybody, but who's your favorite fans, perhaps, and who are the ones that maybe are not your favorite fans?
I think it's probably Northern Iowa fans at the men's tournament that we've had the most fun with. There's a group this year we started kind of hanging out with at the Drury, and Scotcheroo Sarah, as we started calling her, because she had Scotcheroos and she was calling me Jello Shot Cindy. So
lots of fans from different teams. We of course have a family member that's a Bradley fan, so we don't support Bradley, we support him, but we'll end up at a lot of Bradley games. We're at all the games, and there's usually a rooting interest in our party. Besides the new people from Uni we met this year, there's a couple other Uni people that we've known for 10 years that we always hook up and meet up with and do stuff with. And there's a number of different schools that we do that with, and it's fun to see. We love the ISU fans, of course, the best, but it's fun to run into other folks that we don't see as often, and at least once a year, and always maybe at the lobby or at a certain time up in the Bud Light Zone, or now the Jameson Club, or different places around St. Louis.
Yeah, and then that's how we got involved, right? You guys were like, hey, come join us, let's talk Redbird basketball. And then now that we've been doing it for the last 3 or 4 years, I've been now bringing my laptop down, and we have them wheel a TV in, and we put on old games. And so we always now have old games running in the background, which kind of drives some of the other fan bases nuts, right? Because they got to listen to, because we're only picking, well, the one you guys wanted me to watch is the DePaul game, which is kind of a problem, but yeah. All right, so that's awesome. All right, Cindy, we're talking about now Hoops in the Heartland, another great Missouri Valley tournament, and so go.
So Hoops in the Heartland, I think the awesomest thing is that the Missouri Valley makes sure that tournament is equal to the men's. I'm going to guess that every conference doesn't do that. I was actually talking Kendi Hilliard, that played volleyball at ISU and just graduated in December with her master's, got to work both tournaments for the Valley, and she was telling me, she said they really are equal from everything she sees, except for the fans that show up, and trying to work on that, right? As Redbird fans, we're trying to work on that. But we do the same thing. We go to the games. We go out to a couple breweries and bars, and we party in the Element lobby instead of the Drury lobby. And we hang out with Drake fans there. This weekend we were hanging out with a bunch of the Drake players' parents, trying to get ideas how to get them off their game. Except the one's mom was like, my daughter won't get off her game no matter what, and she wouldn't tell us which players we could mess with. So that didn't really work out well. And Drake was actually playing really well this weekend, so I don't think it would have mattered anyway. But we take our leftover jello shots from Arch Madness up to Hoops in the Heartland and finish the 421 jello shots we had made for Arch Madness off at Hoops in the Heartland.
I had quite a few of them. John and I probably had way too many Wednesday nights. Steve had a meeting Thursday morning. He had to take in a phone call, so he didn't have as many. But yeah, John and I ended up making a video for a friend of ours, and we have no idea how and what we said in the video until we looked at it in the morning. So yeah, all right. So we've talked about both tournaments, we've had this conversation, right? We love for more fans to be at both of them, right? So if you're listening to this podcast, right, we do this as a labor of love and to energize the Redbird base to come and do that stuff. So, Steve, you were going to ask a question?
Yeah, when you go to the Quad Cities, right, in your hotel, like one thing that's nice about St. Louis, you can go there, you can walk all around, right? Get to the different venues and back and stuff. Is it similar, where it's all right there and you just kind of park, for the whole event for 4 days? You can just walk around and is it like
yeah,
that?
It is actually the hotel that we stay at, and so the team stays at a different hotel.
Good.
And yeah, actually, our athletic department was saying that to a fan the other night. But so we were at the hotel. Athletic department stay and everything is literally across the street from the stadium. So, and they have the rally. Is at the bar that's connected to the hotel. So you don't have to go anywhere.
So you get
past a block.
Is what you're saying.
Yeah. But you get less steps. You get less steps in St. Louis because it's so close.
Right.
It's very similar. There's maybe not quite as many people, so I think the Redbird fans probably had the most fans there this year. Drake, it's close between Redbird fans and Drake, but it's a few smaller numbers, so most everybody is hanging together. So while we hang around with a ton of Redbird fans in St. Louis, we're maybe a little more spread out, even though St. Louis is, it's pretty central. This is even more central in the Quad Cities as far as where the fans are at, where the places that they go, where the hotels they stay at. It's even a little bit smaller, closer together, and the camaraderie is fantastic as well. And there's a little bit of overlap, but there's a lot of different people that go. We're actually looking forward to seeing some of them again when we hop on the bus on Thursday to go to Missouri, the fan bus, to see the NIT game. We're disappointed we didn't get a home game out of it, but we're going to hop on the fan bus and hope to see some of those fans that we hung out with up in the Quad Cities. So,
all right, guys, we're going to talk about some of your experiences that you've had at ISU. First one is, what is your favorite ISU game, whether you attended or watched it, and why?
Oh, that's a tough question.
You choose one.
I know. I actually would probably go national championship in Frisco, even though we lost. Just what an amazing overall experience and an amazing season. And I hope that someday I can say a national championship game that we won, or maybe an NCAA tournament game that we won that I was at.
That's a hard one to top, but I will go somewhere else, and it's I'm thinking about going for football too. We actually went to see ISU play in the playoffs at Appalachian State. So this was the year that ISU was playing men's basketball at Louisville against the top one. They were the top couple rated team in the country.
Yep.
And Cindy and I were trying to decide where do we want to go. My vote initially was actually to go to Louisville because we were going to go for the weekend and make it a 3-day weekend, hang down there, and Louisville's got a lot of fun things to do apparently, and we wanted to do that. But Cindy's like made the point, well, it's a football game. But the catch with the football game is the friend that we went with, our friend Matt, had just started a new job and could only go for the game and come back. So literally Friday afternoon, we hopped in the car, we drove all night, slept in the parking lot, hit a little tailgate with some of the parents that we tailgate next to at ISU, the Newkirks, and some of the folks that they were with. Colton Underwood's mom was part of that group. Watched the game, watched Colton Underwood block the extra point in overtime. Appalachian State people are the nicest people on earth to us. I'd have been very mad if I was them. I couldn't believe how nice they were. We went back out to tailgate with the Newkirks and Colton's mom and a few others, and had a drink and some burger. We hopped back in the car and drove back. And it was very difficult. I was too old to be doing that, but there was three of us, kind of shared it up a little bit. But we didn't really sleep but a couple hours in the car.
Wow.
But it was worth it. It was fantastic. I'm sure the Louisville trip was great for the folks who did that, but that's one that will stick in my memory just because of the circumstances and such.
I would like to correct Jason. I believe it was Shelby Harris that blocked the extra point.
Oh, yeah, it was Shelby Harris. And he does that in the NFL a lot, too, by the way. Bats passes down and blocks stuff. Yes, she is correct 100%.
So, okay, let's go to the next question. Your favorite ISU athlete and why? Jason's going to go first, and then Cindy on this one.
So favorite ISU athlete. Football.
Any sport.
It's...
No, don't say it. No, do not kiss ass on this podcast.
I was thinking John, he's a very close second, of course. You know, he's way up there. I mean, it's hard for me not to pick someone from those teams in the 80s. I grew up and loved those guys. But
yeah.
I'm going to go off it a little bit, and Cindy will probably like, wow, and she'll be happy. But from women's ISU basketball, I am a huge Mary Crompton fan. I'm a huge what she's done for the program and everything. So it's hard for me not. She's such a perfect ISU athlete, all around, does everything the right way. So I'm gonna go with Mary Crompton.
Great pick.
Great choice.
Yep.
So Cindy, you have to beat that.
Well, I did not watch Jon Pemberton play, so I feel like he can't be my favorite. I'm just going to go with my first favorite ISU player, Kyle Cartmell. The enthusiasm he had when he came into the game, what he brought to that team. It was always funny because my friends knew he was my favorite player, and it's like he's the guy coming off the bench. Like everyone else, people are choosing Dan Muller, Rico Hill, and I'm like, no, Kyle. He just came off the bench and brought so much energy. It's hard, though, to choose just one player, like even from each team, but so that's I have to go with my first one. That kind of got me into ISU sports.
When you see that clip before every ISU game, it just brings back memories, and it's all about the pass and not the layup, right?
Yes.
Dan got lucky.
That's right.
I believe I would tell Dan at coaches' shows sometimes, too, that he wasn't my favorite player. So.
Love Dan to death. He got lucky. That's what I tell him all the time.
All right, one more question, and this doesn't have to be sports. Your favorite ISU moment? Cindy, you want to go first on this one?
Okay. I should say meeting my husband at a tailgate, right? That's
just like Pemberton, it's a close second.
Yeah, it's a close second. I'm actually going to go with a tailgate moment when we had probably close to 75 people, and someone has a video of it, singing we always sing the fight song and then do a shot before we go to the game. And all of us standing around, it was a playoff game, cold, we're all bundled up, and just watching how much fun everyone was having, though.
Great.
So I'll also go with the tailgate. So this was in 2011. We are on the Saturday before Thanksgiving. We're playing a snow game. We have, probably 6 to 8 inches of snow. We're all decked out. I mean, we had a full tailgate. ISU is doing well, not quite. We're a couple years for the championship game, but we're starting to make playoffs again. The excitement's back, so we're having so much fun. The next day, there are 6 of us in our group that were going to Cancun to watch the Redbirds play in the Cancun Challenge. So the 6 of us were there, all decked out. We have a picture. A bunch of kids had built these 2 big snowmen. So we get this picture where we're standing next to a snowman, all decked out. Less than 24 hours later, there's a picture of us, the 6 of us, in a swim-up pool, at a swim-up bar at a pool at the, what was it called, the Moon Palace in Cancun, ready to watch the Redbirds play. We won the football game. We lost. We were 1-1 in that basketball tournament, but it was just neat, the contrast there from football to basketball and weather and tailgate to swim-up bar at a pool.
And the game we lost to was?
We didn't lose that game. Tyler Brown's heel was not out of bounds.
Okay, so I was going to correct it. Should have been 2-0.
Yes.
I was actually standing about 15 feet from that because I'm a superstitious person.
Who were you playing?
I happened to go to a little bar that was close to that area and to get a drink, and we started coming back and playing very well, so I stood there. So I could see that his heel was up in the air 100%. So he was that should have been a good shot.
We were playing U of I.
U of I. That would have been our first victory against U of I. Our second one would have been 2017, but we won't talk about that either. Okay.
Or 2005.
Yeah.
We had to go to
the overtime one.
Overtime.
All right. So here comes all the tough questions now. We're gonna do our best Maddie impression here in this one. Okay. All right. Who would you rather beat, Bradley or North Dakota State?
Bradley.
Even though you have family members, you'd rather beat them down? Is it? Okay, good. Who looks better in red, Jason or Cindy?
Cindy.
Cindy.
Who has Redbird apparel that we should know about that we haven't seen yet?
Cindy.
Probably yes.
Is that true, Jason?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Would you rather tailgate or party at the Drury Lane? Or Drury End, sorry, not the Drury Lane.
That's a tie for me. I can't answer it.
You gotta pick something.
Tailgate.
I'd probably have to say tailgate if I had to.
Because Pemberton's not there, right?
Exactly.
He's going to be there next year, and he's going to know the fight song.
Well, now you're really getting out on a limb there. But yeah, I am going to be tailgating because
we know players and fight songs don't mix together.
Yeah.
If anything we learned in this year's basketball season, it was that. All right. What's your favorite flavor for a jello shot?
Malort's.
No, I didn't ask what your the least. What's your favorite one?
The one that just has one liquor in it and it's not Malort's.
All right. Redbird Arena or Horton Fieldhouse?
Horton Fieldhouse.
Redbird Arena, but I've only been to one game in Horton, so.
And you enjoy that?
I did enjoy it.
All right.
I remember the 50th row of the bleachers in the north end. I'll send you guys a picture to put up. I got a ticket stuff from on that 50th row on the north end.
What's your best Redbird apparel?
Our beam, our Redbird beam, our Hancock Stadium beam. I had to pick it up, so I'll call it apparel.
It was like, that's not apparel. You can't wear that.
I would just know you're going with that.
You know what? See, I got some of my apparel out. I'm going to say my 98 MVC championship t-shirt that I still have. Although, I do have a, when we won the Gateway Conference championship, I have that shirt, and I got it signed by some of those players, so actually I'm going to go with that shirt. Never mind.
Yeah,
Although
like
that shirt is...
championship shirt just over your...
Yeah, I do. I have the Frisco one. This is why I have better apparel than Jason. I also got out... See? Now it's show and tell time.
Yeah.
2008...
Show and tell with Cindy.
2008 women's division basketball, when we women's Division 1 women's basketball, when we played at Purdue, I believe. Yes, women played at Purdue in the NCAA tournament.
I did have one of my favorite shirts. I don't have any longer. Is the same shirt John has, and we were talking about that in the hotel lobby on that Wednesday night. My two favorite teams are ISU and whoever plays Bradley. I think John still has it. I unfortunately no longer have it.
That John has
yes,
it.
correct. Not
Bradley's shirt.
Yes.
Yeah, John P. does not have that shirt.
Yes.
Not that I wouldn't wear that with a lot of pride, but I'm just saying, yeah.
Yep.
Next question.
Besides jello shots, as fans, sometimes we're superstitious, right? The team wins 3 games in a row, and therefore you have to wear the same underwear and stuff like that. Tell us what your superstition is or your ritual that you do before games, besides jello shots.
So we used to have more rituals than we do now. I believe I will say because
now I know what's happened the last 4 basketball seasons. I finally figured it out.
It's because in St. Louis we kept on trying the rituals and they didn't work, and we kept on trying new ones and they didn't work.
Let's go back.
We're kind of struggling. We kind of need to get back to something, yes, but. No, there might be a T-shirt I'd wear, but I don't do that anymore. Those have fallen away after we've not been winning consistently lately, which is going to come. It's just not there right now.
Yeah.
I actually have one for football. Started randomly. I actually work in the same lot that we tailgate in, and so I took a picture of the porta potties the Friday before the game and posted on our tailgate page. And now it's a thing I have to, and I can't post the same picture even. I have to go take a picture, even if I've taken a Friday off. I'll go up to my work parking lot, take a picture, and post it on our tailgate page. And for a while there, it was like we had not lost, and then the porta potties were not there when I got to work one Friday morning. I had to take the picture later, and we lost. So it is whatever works, right?
Right.
So ISU custodial staff broke our streak.
Yes. Yeah. And you'd be amazed how many people worry when I don't have the picture up, too.
All right, I think I know the answer to this one. Do you know the words to the ISU fight song?
Yes. Do you need us to start singing it?
John hit it, man.
Oh, you Redbirds on to battle, fight for ISU. See, I can't keep up with the music now.
We just lost so many subscribers.
Let's cheer the Redbirds on to victory. Every voice proclaim, go State. We've got the fight.
We've got the might. Let's win this game. ISU go.
ISU go.
I don't think you can clean that one up. You can try.
Well, hopefully we're going to get to hear the basketball team sing that a lot next year, right?
All right, so by this point, most fans have heard me bellyache about the fact or laugh about my dad and mom used to parade me by Southern and Coach Van Exel or whatever his name was down at Southern. And so about a year ago, I see Jason and Cindy show up in Southern gear. And I'm like, all right, ISU had lost. What's the deal here? And so it was a little closer to what had happened, so he was a little more emotional now. I think he is in a little better spot. But why don't you talk about why you celebrate Southern while you're at the Valley Tournament? It's an awesome thing you do. So,
yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for asking. So, first time I visited Southern was December 1st of 1988. One of my best friends was going to school there, named Mark. Loved the guy to death. 4 years later, my brother graduated high school, and he went down to Southern. So I went down to Southern many, many times during the course of that time period. That was kind of the party school, the fun school, where to have fun. And so my brother was down there 5 years. I had so much fun. He was down there at a time that was one of those great periods, like where I grew up in Redbird basketball. You got Chris Carr and Marcus Timmons and Ashraf Amaya and Marcus da Silva, and they're making tournaments and making runs and having. So he had a special connection to that because he actually lived on the same dorm floor as Chris Carr and Marcus da Silva. So I'd visit, and when ISU wasn't playing Southern, I kind of started rooting for them. So to kind of go on, last year I was wearing all kinds of Southern gear, and Cindy wore Southern gear, my brother-in-law and a bunch of our friends. Well, a little over a year ago, my brother had passed, and we would always go to the tournament together. So ever since Cindy and I were going, he would go down as well. There was a number of years back in the early 2000s where, of course, Southern's winning. They're playing Creighton in the championship game. We had lost by then. So we would stay and let someone drive our car home, and we come home with my brother, you know. And so we spent a lot of time down there with him, and so it was a tribute that I thought that, hey, they're not playing ISU. I'm going to be wearing that stuff. I have his pullover and have some other stuff. Cindy wears one of his jerseys, and it's just, I think it's a great tribute because he loved it, and we spent a lot of great times down there together. And that's just it's a neat place. It's a unique place, and I think it's better for the Valley when Southern is playing well, football, basketball, any of the sports. So yeah,
agreed. Again, sorry for your
and when
loss.
we met, so let's go on to when we met. So we're that night we're meeting in the jury lobby, and we all have the Southern gear on, and you kind of look over and you're half kind of pissed off, which is fine, which is okay. And then so
what you explained it, so.
You had no idea, you didn't
no
know.
Idea.
And then it's funny because Cindy's sister Lisa ran up to you real fast and told you. Yeah. And you came over and picked me up and gave me the biggest bear hug I had in my life. I think every bone in my back cracked all the way down. But yeah, it was. I know you. It was you true care, and I really appreciate it a lot. And you were happy that I was wearing Southern again this year when they were playing. And it's awesome, and it's a good story. So.
Yeah. My little brother went to Southern too, right? My parents were not going to let him not go to Southern, so. There's a ton of my relatives, probably well over 100, that have graduated from Southern. Only 2 from ISU. So it is what it is. So yeah, and I'm glad you support them and love them and that kind of stuff. So all right, we're gonna wrap this up.
Just anybody that sees us out and about and wants to say hi, please say hi to us. Also, you're always welcome to come join our tailgate called Cindygate, and you might have to get to know the words to the fight song. And if you see us in St. Louis, come over, do a jello shot, and join us in Hoops in the Heartland for jello shots too.
Yeah, so before I met Cindy, I follow a little bit of the women's sports, but she has fully converted me. Those women athletes are fantastic. The men athletes are as well, but we have season tickets to volleyball and women's basketball and, of course, men's basketball and football, and we try to attend as much stuff as we can. We go to the coaches' shows for men and women's basketball. We try to do as much to support ISU. We met here. It's a great place. We've met so many great people, and that's us. That's the most important thing. We've met so many great Redbird fans that we're great friends. We'll be great friends for the rest of our lives. Thankful that we met you guys down there 5 years ago in the lobby. I know John had to give me a ride on a luggage cart to the room that night because I decided to take a nap that night, and he was kind enough to. So that was his first experience into the lobby party, and we were well into it by the time you guys showed up. But we try to have fun, and we try to be respectful of other fans. And we just love meeting Redbird folks and hanging out and having a good time.
Amen. Yeah, and I'm so grateful you guys are like, come on over. We looked at it, the three of us looked at it like, what's going on here? Right? And so, because the hotel we had stayed before this had nothing, right? And so, and I've said this before, I don't like staying where the players are, right? They have enough things on their plate, right? They need to be focused. They have one shot at this, right? I've been that guy. Right, you have one shot every year to do well in that tournament. You don't need distractions, right? You can have distractions for the rest of your life. So, and that lobby party is a distraction. Yeah, so and it's a lot of fun, and I hope people join us. We love playing games and or watching the ISU games and talking about it. And people are rooting for games like We actually don't know what the outcome is going to be, which they all do, and they're already fighting over it, and so it's funny, and so a lot of fun. So, Jason and Cindy, thank you for inviting us. Thank you for being on the podcast. This is episode 30 of Bird Fans Forever. Jon, take us out.